There was that ant that stood up to me.
Yeah, but we can forget about him.
Yeah, it was just one ant. One ant.
Yeah, you're right. It's just one ant.
Yeah, boss. They're puny.
Puny? Say, let's pretend this grain is a puny little ant. Did that hurt?
Nope.
Well, how about this one?
Are you kidding?
Well, how about this?
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay?
There is a powerful force in the world today that controls everything that you do. People scheme, steal, scam, embezzle, and kill for it. Laws are bent or completely overlooked in favor of those who have more of it. People chase after it their entire lives. Friends are chosen based on it instead of who someone really is. People marry and divorce because of it, rather than for true love. Services, products, food, and water are refused to those who don't have it. By now, you know I'm talking about money, and I intend to show you what it really is. Clean energies are suppressed or not aggressively implemented because they can't generate as much of it. Entire regions are forced to suffer in disease, starvation, underdevelopment, and oppression because of money. Religion expects you to pay 1/10 of it. People are taxed of their labor for it. Slaves have been bought, sold, and traded for throughout history, and it still exists today, regardless of what you are brainwashed to believe. Equality for all people is impossible because of money, because where there is economy, there are poor and rich, and where there are poor and rich, there are differences in what you can or cannot experience, and that is inequality. People truly believe that they are better, more worthy, superior, and should be dominant over others based on how much of it they have. Toxic waste is illegally dumped to save money. People work all day, yet are unable to provide fairly for their families, while some absolutely do nothing and become more wealthy through manipulation of its existence and trading, interest, inflation, deflation, and transaction. People all over the world are losing their jobs and livelihoods because of the economy of money. People educated with fancy degrees and decades of working experience can't fully understand money. Safety standards are regularly ignored under threat of job loss in order to save money. Higher education is refused to those without enough money. Decent levels of health care are also refused to those without enough money. Those who have a surplus of money are virtually incapable of seeing the true nature of slavery, oppression, criminality, and division money perpetuates over mankind, because it isn't affecting them in a way that they can perceive. People downgrade themselves as sexual icons for money, increasing the belief system that your physical appearance makes you better or worse than others, consequently selling you an image to strive for that holds no true meaning of whom you really are. Food and water is contaminated with chemicals in order to save profits from money. Grown food is now genetically modified to save money. Drugs are created while treating one symptom. It in fact instigates new symptoms, so the drug companies can introduce new drugs to treat the symptoms that the initial symptoms cure caused. Your entertainment is contaminated with propaganda influencing the individual's decisions in order to create more profits for money. Music videos and movies glorify money, so everyone will waste their entire lives chasing after an imaginary dream lifestyle, when in fact those very entertainers are less free than you are. And it's not entirely the entertainer's fault. It's their controllers that insist on these things. They want you to love it. They want you to seek it, chase after it, devote your lives to it. Cheat, lie, steal, serve, self-discriminate, hate, divide, oppress, fight, and defend your right to have money. They want you to worship it. Meanwhile, people are starving because of money. People are employed for money, required to perform acts they know are wrong, but they do them because they need money to survive in the paradigm that is dominated by it. Wars are powered on both sides by money. Prescott Bush, who was George W. Bush's grandfather, helped fund the Nazi Party through the Union Banking Corporation with money. Are you getting pissed off yet? Have you begun to see what it actually does to humanity? Well, how about this? Al-Qaeda was funded by the CIA to fight Russia in Afghanistan by money in the 1980s. But not just by the CIA, but by Israel, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, UK, and also Christianity. If you don't believe me, watch the movie Charlie Wilson's War. First, notice how bluntly the movie shows you the luxurious lifestyles of your tax-funded political leaders. This movie paints that picture quite well for you. But the real point I want you to learn is how the Mujahideen or Al-Qaeda groups were formed. They were formed by your tax dollars that you had no choice in supporting. You had no vote, no oversight, and no knowledge of. What about the other prices that were paid? Afghan cities, infrastructure, homes and hospitals, schools, farms, bridges and roads, everything was wiped out. And for what purpose? So that innocent Afghan people could wage the Cold War for America against Russia. Afghanistan was a front line that Americans didn't see while taught to hide underneath their desk. It is estimated that anywhere from 700,000 and 2 million Afghan civilians lost their lives, and an initial 200,000 Mujahideen freedom fighters lost theirs fighting that war. Do you know that neither the US nor Russia rebuilt that country afterwards? A country ripped to shreds and not 1 cent was appropriated to rebuild it. Can you imagine why they might hate the Western world so much? George Bush Sr. is the biggest CIA spook in this country and was also the vice president to Ronald Reagan during the Russian-Afghan War. Previous to the 8 years he spent as vice president, he was the CIA director. And who funds the CIA? Well, that's your tax dollars and the war on drugs. Yet you willingly believe that the CIA is providing you with national security while actually they are creating insecurity in the world we see today. If this isn't making you mad yet, you really need to open your eyes. You have been used as a tool towards these nightmares by being good tax-paying citizens. You listen to what your corporate medias tell you are truths while your tax dollars flow to the global crime syndicate that is bankrupting your children as I speak and causing instability in the world. And of course it's labeled unpatriotic to question these things. They don't want their little ants to wake up.